Hello everyone, welcome to Etellan. As you can probably tell by now, this video is a little bit different, a little bit less doll related than usual. I recently hit 70,000 subscribers and I'm beyond grateful for that. I'm very thankful, but I thought it was about time that the community, who has been very supportive of me and very kind, kind of got to know me a bit better. So I thought it would be nice to do it in a video. I asked on Instagram what kind of questions or anything that you wanted to know about me I would answer in a video, within reason. I apologise as well if my voice is a little bit deeper than usual. I unfortunately haven't been very well, so if I sound a little bit different than I normally do, I'm sorry. Will I ever do a face reveal? Yes. This is what I look like. Apparently I look quite different to what people expect me to look like. I hope that that's a good thing. Ironically, I had actually created an entire doll to do a face reveal. So this is what she looks like. She's just an anime figure custom. I made her a couple of months ago, but I just didn't have the confidence to post her, unfortunately, and then by the time I did have the confidence to do it, I ended up losing the files, so the world works in mysterious ways, am I right? I made her out of, she's just basically a custom out of an anime figure in clothes that I wear a lot. Actually, yeah, she's wearing the t-shirt that I'm wearing like right now, which is, I always just wear this kind of clothes. But she has like a little Pokemon shiny Rowlet, because I always joke that when Fergus, my bird's Fergus, when he's asleep he becomes like very spherical, and he always just like sits on my head or sits on my shoulders, and he ends up looking like a shiny Rowlet, so I added that into the figure. Probably end up posting more photos of this online on my Instagram, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find those files again. If I do, then I will. But yeah, I thought it'd be nice to show it in this video. As you can tell, it's a very outdated figurine, as this doll has a fringe, but I haven't cut my hair in such a long time that it's completely grown out, which is a shame, but you know, that's okay. The next question is, did you go to college? Yes, I did go to college. I did a Bachelor's of Communications in Public Relations, majoring in transnational communications. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying becoming a communications manager for the government or kind of like global brands. I ended up not being able to get my foot in the door, sadly. Never really being able to progress a lot, but I think it was more just it wasn't something that I was cut out for, but that's okay. I think that it's pretty normal to try out varying different career paths. The next question was how and why I got into doll customization. I started customizing in January 2019, so it's been almost 2 years now. I started basically because I loved collecting figurines, like anime figurines, all that kind of stuff, but unfortunately I went through, after university and after doing the grunt work and all that kind of stuff, I went through a period of unemployment, so I wasn't able to indulge in my interests, as they say. So, you know, during my time off I would play video games, most notably Mass Effect. Love it. And I really wanted the very limited edition Mass Effect figurines, but they are so expensive. They're very rare as well. They're very hard to find. But anyway, I digress. I really wanted to collect them, but it was just so expensive, and it was just, you know, when you're unemployed, money is very sparse, and you can't really indulge in luxury items like that. I also wanted a new hobby, So I was looking online and I was looking at these figures and I thought to myself, I should make one. That would be really fun to make it. That would be, and learn that, and it would be like, it's such a unique piece. So I looked online and I ended up just falling into the rabbit hole of just people who make their figurines. Looked into that, and then I ended up stumbling upon doll customization videos, all that kind of stuff. I had originally started the doll customization journey in making custom heads. I made like little animal heads. I'll see if I can find pictures of them, with Monster High bodies, because I wasn't really that familiar with Monster High, and then that went into doll customizing, all that kind of stuff. So basically, how I got into it was just, now that I think about it, it's kind of funny. To avoid paying the massive fee, I instead built the skills to make the figures, and I made as many as I wanted. And that just, it hits the sweet spot of just collecting figurines. The next question was, what is my favourite custom? And I think it's kind of hard because it's very much a tie between Lavender and Madoka. I love Madoka's face. I think it's one of my favourite faces that I've done because the eyes are just so striking. And I love the hair. I think it was because that was the first time that I actually attempted doing more of a stylized yarn hair, and then that led into the entire new hobby of really enjoying doing yarn hair. But I also like Lavender because there's so many intricacies in her design. I really love her hair. I love the little embroidery. Yeah, I think it's a tie between those two. The next question was, what books, films and shows inspire you? I don't read books, but I do love animation and video games. So I get a lot of my inspiration from there. I think in terms of that, it's always good to watch a variety of different things in terms of animation, shows and games, because you never really know where you're going to get inspiration from. As well, even just music, it's just what images come to mind when you listen to music. That kind of, it could be the whimsical nature of fantasy, or the industrialness of sci-fi, or the lovely mundanity of slice of life. You can really kind of get inspiration from anywhere, and I think it's really important to just what's that word? It's like try it, like just basically just try everything. And it just helps you have variety in your inspiration, I guess. In terms of shows that I personally like, I love things like Adventure Time, Being Puppy Cat, Evangelion, Over the Garden Wall, Madoka Magica, Demon Slayer, End of the World, Game of Thrones, The Expanse, and for games, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Gris, Fallen Order, Pokemon. I think it's always just great to expand your horizons. You never really know where you're going to get inspiration from. It could just be a random lovely scene from an animation. It could just be a just like the use of colours and the industrial nature of someone's armour, stuff like that. You can kind of get inspiration from anywhere, and those are just kind of the examples that I look at. And yeah. Is there any specific dolls that you've wanted to make but haven't got to yet? I think in terms of customizing dolls, the list is endless. I think there's so many ideas that I've wanted to do. I've definitely been very itching to redo an Asari doll from Mass Effect, along with a Quarian doll, basically making a Liara and Tali. I've been wanting to make a geisha robot from Ghost in the Shell. I have a couple of Kylo Ren toys, and I'm really quite itching to... I don't know if I would turn them into a doll. I think I might turn them into a figure. I, as well, Star Wars related, I really want to make a Mandalorian, but I'm not really sure if I would make like Din from Mandalorian along with the child, or if I would make someone like Bo-Katan or someone like that. But I also would be very itching to make a custom character, a OC, I think that's what they call them. Yeah, I would be quite excited for that. I also really wanted to make a Mandalorian cosplay, so I thought it would be a good idea to make a smaller scale practice. But in terms of my own content, yeah, I've been really keen on making like anime figures and my own little custom toys, my own dolls, but mainly, unfortunately at the moment, the only thing I've done is make custom ball jointed doll heads. The next question was, what's the hardest thing that I've learnt since doll customizing? I think ironically it's not the customizing. I think the hardest thing, putting yourself out there online. I think that that's probably the hardest part, because I don't think people give themselves enough credit. You know, when they just put themselves out and they actually post a picture of the things that they've made, even if it's just like a small drawing that you've only showed your mum, I think you should be very proud of the fact that you've actually done that. I know that for me it was so hard to be able to actually post things online, and I think that's the hardest, is to put yourself out there, and be a part of a community. I think as well that's really hard. But for me personally, I think it's the hardest bit is, yeah, putting myself out there. I think as well it's really important to understand the difference between feedback and criticism, because obviously there's constructive criticism, and I think it's really, really important whenever anyone gives me feedback, or just say, hey, I think this would look nice like this, or hey, I think that it would be really good to do this, or you should make this character. I'm always like, yeah, thank you so much. I'm very grateful, and I find that really important to my journey and my development of my skills and such. I think most people are kind-hearted, and I don't think that people necessarily say things with malice intent. I think it's really important to understand the difference between when someone's being mean and someone's just trying to help you out. But as well, I think that it's also really important to know that if someone says something mean to you online, I think it's also really important that, you know, people will be rude to you online. I've had people say quite rude things to me, completely unwarranted. So it's important to understand the difference between someone coming and giving advice from a place of kindness, and someone who's just being rude for the sake of being rude, because unfortunately there is people like that, and I don't think you can I don't think you should really take that stuff seriously. You should just have it water off a duck's back, I suppose, and not take it to heart. I know it's hard, but you've kind of just gotta ignore it. The next question was, what's my favourite base to work with in regards to Monster High? I definitely think it's hard. I definitely think my favourite bases are the cat ones, or Spectra. I think that they both have very beautifully angular faces, and I think that they are just such gorgeous little models. They're very hard to find though, which sucks. But whenever I do find them, I'm always like, oh yes, I've got to save it, and I've got to make sure that I use it correctly. How do you find being a doll artist in Australia? I think it's a mix. For those who are unfamiliar, I live in Sydney, which is one of the biggest cities in Australia, I think. I think it's amazing. I think it's fantastic, the fact that I live in a city where there is quite a variety of hobbyists. I think I'm very lucky in that regard that, you know, there will be people who are Warhammer people, Gundam enthusiasts, train enthusiasts, all that kind of stuff, and they, you know, having those people who do the hobby, there will be all those suppliers. So I think in terms of supply wise, it's fantastic because, you know, I have access to like a plethora of different materials and such. I think as well it's bad and good at how small the community is, because like for instance, I only know a handful of people from Australia, and we all live very far apart. So unfortunately there is no ability for things like meetups or anything like that. But I think that's also good because it gets you out of it branches you out to socialize in different communities. So for instance, I quite enjoy talking with people who do Warhammer, people who do Star Wars X-Wing, people who do Infinity, and I think it's really good because it branches you out into different communities with different skill sets and different techniques of doing things, and you all just kind of learn from each other. And I think that if the doll community wasn't so small as it is and all that, you wouldn't necessarily branch out into those different communities, and I think that's really important. I think the only thing that sucks is obviously being in Australia, we are in a different time zone, and sometimes it can be hard if you're wanting to talk to people from the United Kingdom or United States who are in the doll customization community, or Europe, stuff like that. When everyone's awake, I'm asleep. So I find it really hard to have conversations with people online, just because when they're keen to chat, I'm asleep. It can be a bit hard in that regard because it can be kind of isolating a little bit, but then again, like, you know, it is what it is. I think on that note, I might wrap up the first Q&A. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, leave it down below. If I see it, I might reply. Don't forget to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more of my dolls, you can check out my Instagram at etellan, or I'll leave my personal Instagram as well if you want to check that out, though I don't really post very often. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. I don't know when you're going to be watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. See you later.